Where is the love? Travis Wayne Goodsell. We'll do a comment reply, which is common when building a YouTube base from scratch. You tend to get new people who don't understand the concept of love. They're just vessels of wrath and hate. And as my channel is a religious channel, trying to get people to love and not hate, the focus being Mormons of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's amazing how Mormons claim the Book of Mormon is true, and yet are behaving and acting towards their fellow man exactly as the villains of the Book of Mormon. And so, case in point, I received a comment yesterday on my video, Breaking LDS News. Russell M. Nelson changes temple covenants again. Now, that one was done back in 2020 because there's some backstory behind this video. This is my #1 video. It's gone without views for quite a long time. I'm surprised this guy even clicked on it. YouTube shows in my analytics that because of their algorithm program, people have to actually type in a search category that corresponds to my video. And thus they think they can silence me and have only people who want to watch my videos watch my videos. And so they're expecting Mormons to stay away and protect Mormons, as YouTube has Mormon employees protecting the church, in case you didn't know. But this particular video was when I had served the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in a federal lawsuit. And there's a big controversy behind that lawsuit, as the judge had been fired and being tied to another popular lawsuit against the church. And so there's a lot of background behind this video that if you are not watching my videos, you're way behind on, if you're new to my channel. And in this particular case, Nelson had changed the temple in 2019 to the text of the endowment, and some processes for women, for example, no longer requiring the veil, for example. And I did videos on Travis Wayne Goodsell, which the church ordered YouTube to have shut down, so that I can't post videos until April 21st, after conference. Isn't that a coincidence? Yeah. I need to do a conference for an April 2022 conference playlist for you, so I can start funneling videos into that. Depending on fulfillment of prophecy, but that's another topic. And in my lawsuit that I was not getting any reply to, I found it necessary to release information knowing that my lawsuit is in the public domain. You can search it and find it. It's there. And I dropped the bombshell that the church has the inverted pentagram. and that put Holland in the hospital. Apparently that shocked him. And Nelson was retaliating in his anger towards me on the church news. And I also submitted to the court that the church was plotting to restore polygamy, and submitted the part in the changes in the law of chastity that changed it to those to whom we are legally and lawfully wedded, and the additional part according to his law. Every Mormon knows that's section 132, which is polygamy, which the church framed Joseph for. I've done the videos tying the manner of language to Brigham Young. Brigham Young is responsible for section 132 and framing Joseph Smith, because when it was put in, the United States was already pressuring Brigham Young to stop polygamy. And in his discourses, he was complaining about how the United States was pressuring him on polygamy, trying to demand it's God's law, and he needs religious freedom to commit crime. And so, yeah, there is no reason why ex-Mormons should be blaming Joseph for the false accusations of Brigham Young and his followers to set up and frame Joseph Smith so that they can justify keeping it in the scriptures. John Taylor's revelations, for example, had to be removed. That's why we don't have the additional sections in our Doctrine and Covenants that John Taylor added. In case you didn't know, because the church doesn't tell us. We have official declaration number 1 in place of it. And so there's a guy, I'm assuming, because he's using a cartoon blob creature as his thumbnail, and he created a fake name, and so he's hiding his identity, and if it were something to do with something in your life that you can show for it, I can understand. If you like dogs, for example, you'd have a picture of a dog and have the name for your channel of the name of the dog. Okay, great. But if you're going to go around attacking people, that's not great. You're being mean. You're acting like a villain in the Book of Mormon, as Mormon. And that's where the problem comes, is that when you go on the offensive to attack people, and you're hiding your identity, you're the bad guy. And so I don't give you any credibility. You're not trying to learn about my video and my channels. You're not seeking to understand before being understood. You're just using the church as a justification to attack people. And that's not good, because this video exposes crimes of the church. Law of chastity is a crime when it involves polygamy, because it didn't have according to God's law. It had according to legally and lawfully wedded, which came from the United States telling the church no more polygamy, and they shut the church down. That ceased to exist. And so, starting up the church again with Heber J. Grant, yeah, they had to make some changes. You can't commit crime, even as a religion. But the church is pushing religious freedom so that they can commit crime this time as a religion. And that's a very dangerous thing and is a threat to our Constitution. Just like the villains in the Book of Mormon called the Kingmen, who sought to overthrow the Constitution of the laws of Mosiah. And Mormons are not allowed to support wickedness. We know this, it's in the Book of Mormon. Why don't Mormons get it? I mean, yeah, they're in denial of what they should be having a faith crisis for. That's the two extremes. Mormons who leave the church, it's because of a faith crisis, because of something about the church. Whereas Mormons who stay are in denial to protect their faith crisis from happening. And it's abuse that the church is causing on Mormons. And only the truth will set you free. That is literal. That is a true principle. And so he attacks by saying, I hope you get off your butt and not go bag on a religion that has done nothing to you. See the error he made there? There's backstory between me and the church. As a Mormon born and raised, I believed Joseph Smith was a translator, and I found that he had retranslated the Hebrew of Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 in the King Follett Discourse. I wanted to know the rest of the story as translated correctly, because that's Article of Faith number 8. We believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly. Joseph Smith was saying the Hebrew was translated incorrectly. So I wanted to know the Word of God. It's a real simple concept as Mormons respond according to their beliefs that they are taught. And so it is foreign and scary to me to witness Mormons with such hatred in their hearts. I don't understand it. The church is true, right, Mormons? So why are you acting like the villains of the Book of Mormon? It makes no sense to me. But nonetheless, I went on to become the decipherer of Paleo-Hebrew. And yes, I found out the rest of the story, and a whole lot more. And when I came to the church and said, hey, Joseph Smith is a translator, isn't this awesome? They went on the attack. And I was horrified. I didn't understand why I'm being attacked for showing that Joseph Smith is a translator. Come to find out, yeah, not the true church. Joseph was murdered by an inside job. His church usurped, ceases to exist, needs to be restored. And translation has been a big sore spot because of it, as many people in the world and such have been coming after the church for their inability to translate. And here I was, the one to show that Joseph Smith is a translator of not just the Hebrew text of the Bible, but also the Book of Abraham. And so the church has done nothing to me. President Thomas S. Monson ordered the state of Utah to lock me up in Utah's Nazi concentration camp for 6 years. I caught the money receipts when I got out. They paid to have me locked up. I got the receipts. Nothing to me? And so yes, even during the lawsuit, they were trying to destroy me to prevent the lawsuit from going forward, as well as threatening the judges who were Mormon, who refused to recuse themselves, denied my cases. Done nothing to me, huh? See, this guy doesn't get it. He does not understand. He's just attacking. As a Mormon, he's attacking to defend the church, to defend crime, and a whole lot more. Because as a Mormon, not a single one of you should be white supremacist. Not a single one of you should be racist, sexist, bigoted, and neglectful of the poor. Now, if you assumed, like I did, that the church actually was helping the poor, that giving, tithing, and fast offering is helping. But unfortunately, the whistleblower came out and exposed all that. Yeah, they're not helping at all. And so, if you're thinking that you're helping the poor by paying the church, oops. So now what are you going to do about it? He has his videos on YouTube still. He has the shortened version, about 7 minutes long, and then his over an hour video going into full detail about the corruption and crime of Ensign Peak advisors with our tithing. You have no excuses, Mormons. And then he goes on to throw in another fallacy argument. You have 400 subscribers. It's a joke on how you devote your time to do this. He doesn't understand they're dead. This has over 7,000 views. And so, yeah, it makes sense with 400 subscribers. But they're dead now. There's still some stragglers. Hey, guys. But for the most part, my original subscribers are gone. They're dead. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is behind all of the suffering in the world right now, as I've been going over with you. You're the reason people leave the church. Oh, I hope that's so true. I really do. But unfortunately, I was locked up when the majority of Mormons left. So I'm not the reason. But I wish it were true. To save Mormons is my goal. Even you knucklehead. And twist our. See, now he's created me as the other. He doesn't realize I'm Mormon, born and raised. So he's made me the other, so that he can hate me. And instead of twisting LDS scriptures, he's saying twisting our LDS principles. What are your principles? The villains of the stories principles? Because that's what you're demonstrating. You're not demonstrating the principles of love, which is the only principle to concern yourself with. It's real simple religion. All religions are supposed to use it. And yet holy wars throughout time have caused suffering and death and sorrow. As Ukraine, dear God, it's a genocide now. attempted genocide. Millions of women and children refugees, struggling to survive, dependent on charity for their survival. A maternity hospital bombed as children are trapped in the rubble. And there are still people out in the world who think that's a good thing. What principles are you talking about? It's our right to worship? Yeah. If that's all you did, great. But you're pulling this stunt of hate. Again, all Mormons are not supposed to be white supremacists, racist, bigots, sexist, neglectful of the poor and the needy, the sick and the afflicted. If you were just worshiping, there would be nothing to condemn. You shouldn't attack it. Joseph Smith's original temple ceremony was just the washing and anointings. Brigham Young added the endowment that I'm condemning. The penalty oaths. You familiar with those? Apparently not. You're too young, I guess. If that's it, that's if you were a true patriot. Oops. That's code word from MAGA in the United States as white supremacist, racist, sexist, bigoted, hateful of the poor. So now we see where he lies, with class and a life. So yeah, he was reported as abusive. What happened to you, Mormons? How did you stray so far from Joseph Smith's religion? How could you be so deceived by the church that clearly is the great and abominable church, as described in great detail, in great graphic detail in the Book of Mormon? And why aren't you leaving? Why are you still in denial?